Will the Titans Academy team be able to mend fences with Red X long enough to defeat the Riders of the Apocalypse? Well then, let's hop into the finale of Future State Teen Titans issue number 2 and find out. Alright then, so this comic hits the ground running and pretty much doesn't stop for 22 pages. Picking up from where the previous issue left off, Starfire ends up confronting Nightwing not long after he let Red X out of prison. As you might have guessed, they have a lot of questions, not the least of which being, hey, why the hell are you wearing Deathstroke's mask? You know, one of our most oldest and hated foes. Also, don't expect us to start calling you Deathwing now, or Dickstroke, because that's just way too much, man. Dick maintains that because Red X was the reason that the 4 Riders of the Apocalypse escaped in the first place, that he's probably their best bet on defeating them now. Yes, I know this was news to me too, like I said, this book moves fast. And if that's not bad enough, this book does move around in time just like the previous issue, so it's actually kind of hard to keep everything straight. We see Dick and the other members of Titans Academy 6 months ago at the gravesite for their fallen friends. They're honoring Donna Troy as well as Miguel Montez, the kid behind the Dial H for Hero phone. Red X had rigged the Dial H phone to explode in the previous issue due to some dark secret that he had discovered, and we never exactly find out what that is in this issue. Furthermore, I guess the destruction of the phone is what allowed the Riders out, but again, they never say it one way or the other. Are you confused yet? Well, guess what? We got even more. Turns out Red X may not actually have been responsible for the phone exploding, because as we discover, a bunch of the different students at the Titans Academy had been rigging the phone to try and use it as like a heroic Ouija board, even though Miguel had actively tried to warn them to not do that. Now, back in the present, Nightwing ends up leading one last-ditch effort to defeat the Riders. They hook back on up with Shazam's team, and in fact, they drop several small references to what's going on in the Future State Shazam book right now. I didn't read it, so I was a little bit confused. But ultimately, none of it is that important. All that's really important is knowing that 3 other Titans plus Wally West have been taken over by the 4 different aspects of the Apocalypse and are now ready to end all life. Now, in the last issue, we heard everything about the Spear of Destiny and how that was going to be the good guy's ace in the hole. In reality, though, it was more just a lightning rod to get all 4 Riders in the same place so they could enact their real plan. This is where Raven comes in. She's going to try and use her advanced magic power to bind the 4 Riders to the Rock of Eternity, much in the same way Shazam is bound to the Rock of Eternity when Billy's not using them. This plan ends up going wrong pretty much instantly. There's a lot of chaos, and the 4 Riders of the Apocalypse end up getting the edge in the fight. However, when things are at their darkest, though, it's this moment Red X chooses to try and redeem himself for past sins. You see, using the Dial H for Hero phone that Nightwing had managed to retrieve, Red X wages into battle and ends up using the phone in a way no one's ever seen it before, calling up the spirits of formerly dead Titans members. So basically, it's like that one scene in the 3rd Lord of the Rings movie where the ghosts show up and help everyone. Also, it's interesting too, Red X takes off his mask during this moment, but we never actually see his face. Which either means they're doing a fun little hat nod to the cartoon show and how no one ever figured out who the second Red X was, or the writing team on this book hasn't exactly figured out who the new Red X is gonna be anyway. With Red X's sacrifice, the Titans are able to win the day, but even still it's something of a bittersweet victory. Yes, Raven was able to bind all the Riders of the Apocalypse, but she did so by binding them to herself. This means Shazam is going to have to take her to the Rock of Eternity personally, and it seems like she's going to have to be there, well, for the foreseeable future as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Future State Teen Titans issue number 2, everybody, and this finale was honestly just all over the goddamn place. It's like they had an entire arc's worth of story they tried to jam into 2 issues. And if that's not enough, this book also asks a bunch of questions that never actually got answered by the end. Now, naturally, this creative team is actually going to be taking over the Titans book when Future State ends, so there is a very good chance that all these hanging plot threads are actually little story seeds that will grow into fruit later on. Still, I didn't exactly enjoy it as much as I had hoped, and I really hoped I could. A particular shame too, because as we've seen, other Future State books are able to pull off more complete stories with only 2 issues. I just wished it didn't feel so messy at the end of the day. For what it's worth though, I will absolutely be picking up Teen Titans when this creative team takes over next month, but as it stands right now, I can only give this issue a 6.5 out of 10. Look nice though. Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered bored in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time, everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.